a couple of things happened. I want to be clear about something. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm so surprised. I don't know what happened in pre-trial. But basically, the person that's on the stand right now is testifying to something that has already been testified to. So basically, previously, a few days ago, a few court days ago, obviously, they had a young lady that got on the stand, and she works for the government, and she basically aggregated, or the government aggregated, a whole lot of text messages and video messages. And what they decided to do was they decided to have her like put these on the board and decide and make a chart, basically made a chart about, you know, what was going on and the sense of what was going on with the situation. The person that they got on the stand right now is doing the exact same thing. He's testifying to the exact same information. I'm curious to how they can have both of these people on the stand, both of these people on the stand, and they're basically testifying to the same thing. I'm assuming that there was already a discrepancy that was, the courts deemed it was okay. I'm assuming that at some point the defense actually was like, we objected, and for whatever the reason is, the courts is allowing it. I don't understand. This is just my opinion, because at this point, almost everything that I see this guy testifying to, almost every single thing that I see this guy testifying to, the young lady testified to, except for maybe 1 or 2 points. The young lady testified to all of this, just so we could be clear, except for maybe 1 or 2 points. So maybe that's what they did. They tried to say, well, this individual has this amount of information, and this other individual. What's up, my brother? You want to talk? You want to talk? I would love to have your perspective if you would like to give it. We live.
Let's do it.
What's up, my brother? How you doing today?
What's going on?
You got a platform, right?
Absolutely.
And what's the name of it?
Podcast with Soul, Sean G, the Podcast with Soul.
Okay, salute, my brother.
How you doing, Conley? How are you?
Hi.
I saw your YouTube. You got your own YouTube now.
I do. It's not. It's
17,000 subscribers.
Oh, that's something.
Keep growing.
no. It's not.
Stop
it's
it.
not. I can't. I don't know what to do. You can help me. Tell me what to do.
I'll see you
Like,
tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right. What's going on?
So, what's your perspective of the trial so far? Overall.
I think that the defense has done an amazing job of creating reasonable doubt in every facet of this case. And if I'm a member of the jury, there's no way possible I can find Puffy guilty.
Okay, so is there anything specific that you feel that the defense actually really put their name on and exposed as far as the prosecution in their case is concerned?
Well, the perjury, the government witnesses, all the witnesses that were called were government witnesses, prosecution witnesses, and the overwhelming majority of them committed perjury on the stand, misrepresentations, flat out lies, immunity agreements, suing Puffy, Mia suing Puffy for $10 million, Dawn Richard suing Puffy for $6.45 million, Brianna Bogelin suing Puffy for $10 million, Cassie sued him for $20 million. You know, so that right there for me speaks volumes. Brianna Bogelin perjured herself on the stand saying that Puffy hung her off of a balcony in Los Angeles when in fact he was in New York on that day.
So you believe, in your belief, and it does sound terrible for the prosecution, putting witnesses on the stand that is either perjuring themselves or have an ulterior motive.
Of course.
So you believe that these testimonies from these particular witnesses can't really be taken with too much credit?
How? How can it be? If you have a motivation to see this man convicted, and you have a $10 million civil suit pending, you know, obviously you're going to get on the stand and say whatever is necessary to get a conviction. Mia met with the government 27 times. Jane Doe met with the prosecutors 24 times. Brianna Bogelin 8 times. I mean, Dawn Richard, you know, all of these witnesses are meeting with the federal prosecutors multiple times before they take the stand, even up until the day before. So, you know, that just goes to show the strength of the government's case.
Oh, so you believe that the government case is weak, and that's
Absolutely,
probably a
100%.
and that's probably a good reason why the defense is only going to put on maybe a day and a half.
The burden of proof is on the prosecution.
Facts.
And I don't see, they haven't done anything to me that says, yo, this is beyond a reasonable doubt, Puffy did this. Every witness that got on the stand told a lie.
Or at least their testimony seems not credible.
And let's be clear that I've been here inside the courtroom. I'm an in-courtroom observer, 24th floor, overflow. I've been here all but 3 days. And I've heard all of the testimony. I come in the morning and I stay to the evening. So this ain't no hearsay what somebody told me. I'm actually in the courtroom listening to the testimony.
Okay, so how do you feel about, because right now we have one of the government workers actually testifying, one of the individuals that worked for the government and that aggregated the texts and the videos. How do you feel with them saying that not this particular witness yet, but the previous one, because they had two, testifying to the same thing? How do you feel about that witness saying that they didn't have all of the text messages and they didn't get all of the videos?
What they're doing now is just summarizing everything that we heard in the direct examination and the cross-examination. So none of this is new information. You know, if you've been here since the beginning, you've been here since the beginning?
No, I came, I've been here the last 2 weeks. I coach football and basketball.
Right. So before you got here, everything they're talking about on the stand now has already been discussed. This is nothing new.
How do you feel about the about the chances that the government is going to be able to get any kind of RICO at all?
In my opinion, there is no RICO. This is a domestic violence case. Puffy is guilty of assault. Puffy is guilty of battery. He's guilty of domestic violence. He is not guilty of SEX trafficking, SEX coercion, arson, bribery, none of that other stuff. This should have been a state case. This was a state case. He would be in prison. All this other stuff is just an overreach. And, you know, that's why the prosecution has had so much trouble proving their case, in my opinion.
So you do believe that the prosecution has come up short?
Absolutely, 100%. They failed miserably, in my opinion.
So last question. So out of everybody who has been called, who do you think actually helped Diddy's case the most, should I say?
Well, Cassie, the very first witness, she got on the stand and she told Puffy, she said that she loved him, right? And then they asked her, do you still love him? She says, I love our past. This was on the stand. So
she loves the thing she sued him for.
Exactly. She in the text messages, she sent him text messages, I can't wait to have a baby of our own. You know, she set up a lot of the freak-offs herself. She reached out to the male entertainers. Jane Doe reached out to the male entertainers and set up the freak-offs, right? So how could there be coercion? They each lived in their own separate house. They all, when Puffy wasn't around, they got with and carried on sexual relations with the male escorts when he wasn't around. So come on, man, knock it off.
Just so we can be clear, for everybody that don't understand what he's saying, right now the witness on the stand has testified that there was a text message that had been sent back and forth from Puffy and one of the male escorts, where Puffy had asked the male escort where he was at. He said he's downstairs. And then after about, 45 minutes or so, there was a video sent of Cassie of Jane Doe and the male escort having sexual relations to Diddy from one of their phones. So that's what he's basically talking about. And not all of these instances was Diddy actually present when the freak-offs happened.
Exactly.
So if that's what it is, that kind of takes away from the
force and coercion.
Yes, sir.
When you were doing this on your own, when you were meeting up, Jane Doe flew out to Las Vegas with a rapper on his plane, and went and had a freak. She was paid $9,000 to fly out there to do something with another rapper. So, you know, to me, the government hasn't done enough, and Puffy is not guilty. Let me get out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'll see you
Thank
tomorrow.
you for your time.
All right, peace.
Yes, sir. One of the sane content creators that's out here. There are a lot of insane content. One of the sane content creators that's out here.
In the courtroom, though, you got to specify that we're in the courtroom.
We're in the courtroom.
Listening to the real-time testimony.
That's a fact. Some people are not.
I see.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Some people are not in the courtroom. They're spending like primarily all of their time outside on their devices, talking about whatever the hell they're talking about. I don't know. I'm not looking at none of their content, so I have the slightest idea what they're talking about. But they're spending all of their time outside. They're not really inside of the courtroom. That's what he's talking about. I wasn't gonna expose nobody for that because I don't really care about that. But yes, that's the thing, that a lot of these guys are just not even in the courtroom. They don't know what's happening. They like listening to people come outside, say a thing, and then they making their content off of what somebody that just walked outside said. Anyway, with that being said, and here goes Tisa Tells. Hello, Tisa.
Hey,
How you doing today?
pretty good. How you
Excellent. Can I get a minute or no?
What's that?
I get
I'm back into the court though.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Let me return the favor. You
Yes,
stop by and
ma'am.
say
This is Tisa Tells. We all know her. We all
Hi,
love
guys.
her. So what do you think about the trial so far?
Listen, you already know. I think the prosecution wrapped it up. I think that you can argue as to whether Jane was a true victim. I think she was. I think it was sex trafficking by coercion, force, and fraud. But even if you keep that out, with Cassie and the corroborating evidence, I think they 100% made the case that Cassie was a victim of sex trafficking. I think when you get to the RICO, they have them on 2 counts of transporting sex workers across state or international. Took them to Turks, took them to Vegas, took them to Miami. He was just like, he was getting his money's worth of American Airlines, right? I think they got him definitely on the bribery. Eddie Garcia, he was very credible. Not only that, they have the NDA he had to sign, their paper bag full of money, and they even had the IDs, they had the text. So something happened, and everybody was in on that. I think they have them on the kidnapping when it comes to Capricorn Clark. When she was like, show us, and they wouldn't let her leave until Cassie traded herself in and Diddy beat her. I think that on Cassie kidnapping, it's not just grabbing someone up, it's restricting their movement. When they wouldn't
No. Yes, you're correct.
Yeah, when they wouldn't let Cassie leave while her face was healing, that is also kidnapping.
Yeah.
And to be clear, when he ran after her and dragged her back, that's also kidnapping, okay? They have him on bribery, they have him on obstruction of justice, which is why he's sitting in jail, so the weight will show. They have him on, transporting, having his workers transporting rugs, having his workers, had Jane moving weight on a plane, had all his people setting up for the freak-offs, bringing the Gucci pack over, doing this. I know Brendan, the person that got arrested for drug dealing, said, I'm not a mule. However, right, there's enough people that testified that they was getting 300, 500 pills. They was running. So I think they definitely have them on the predicate acts for RICO. And I think they have them on at least 1 count of sex. And don't forget with sex trafficking, it doesn't have to be like one person. It's 1 act. It's just 1 act.
That's right.
So I think that they have this man. I think they have him. What do you think?
I want to ask you another question.
Okay.
So I think that I'm gonna leave it to the jury. I think that
Hey, see ya.
I think
It's
that
good seeing you too. All right.
I think that there's a great argument made for both sides, just so we
Yeah.
can be clear. I think there's a great argument that could be made that he could be found guilty. I think there's also a great argument on the other side, but I do have a different question for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So, they have the American Express credit cards that Diddy was using, and then he was paying off with the bad boy bank accounts. What
Yeah.
do you think about that?
Oh, I think his kids better find some jobs. I do think that they got that. And it breaks my heart to say, because his kids look kind, they look respectful. You can't pick your parents, right? You really can't. So it's actually sad, but at the end of the day, he did it to his own kids. However, the whole point of that and the bad boy is the federal forfeiture. When he is found guilty of any of these, they can snatch anything that was used in furtherance of the RICO. And it looked like he used the bad boy enterprise, the corporate bank accounts, paying it off, reimbursement, to do all of these RICO charges and to help with the Commercial Sex Act. So yeah, I think Yeah, Diddy is done. He is going to be broke, and he's going to be in jail for a very long time. Now, whether he's in jail for life, that remains to be seen. But it's going to be it's going to be longer than he wants to be. It's going to be longer than he wants
I
to be.
believe he's already in jail longer than he wants to be.
Exactly. He's probably hoping it's going to be time served, and like he must be getting Tucci smuggled in the cup of ramen from the commissary, because it's not happening. You know, it's just not happening. But anyway, let me get to this court. Look at this. We are matching on every level. The fan to the tie to the tail. Look at this. Looks like we're going to prom.
Boom.
All right, y'all. Listen, you need to get back to court too. What are you
Yes,
doing?
ma'am.
Yes.
I'm out.
All right.
That was Tisa Tells, y'all. She's the best. We love her over here. Let's go.